What's going on, boys and girls? This is BBD with BBD TV, the biggest Tennessee Volunteers fan on YouTube. And you're watching the two Irish brothers. Shout out to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Go Vols.
Going deep for Smith. Irv Smith. What a run by Smith. Look at that. Touchdown. Oh, my.
What's up, everyone? I am ND Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
And together we make up this little ordeal known as the Two Irish Brothers Show. Everybody knows the drill by now. Hit that subscribe tab in the bottom right-hand corner. Like or dislike our videos. And just give us a love, give us a like, whatever you want to call it. And make sure you hit that bell icon so you're always notified when we go live or upload a new video. So with that said, Ben, obviously some big news to talk about, but I got to say this, though. It's really good the way that we have our filming schedule worked out, because when breaking news happens during the week, you get a few days to process it and not just act on raw emotion, even though raw emotion does get us a lot of views on here.
Yes. Us
but
and John over at Always Irish sure gets a lot of views when we're angry.
Yes. Yep. John definitely knows what we're talking about. But seriously, though, it gives you a few days to actually process what happened and look into the who, what, where, why, and when scenario.
Yeah.
Like why did this happen and for what reason?
Yeah.
And after you see that, it makes some sense. And of course, we're talking about the couple of transfers, but the most recent one, Logan Diggs, which to me at first was very surprising.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising at first. But people have to remember this is now Freeman's staff officially. Like everybody here on this staff are Freeman guys. So I think that the offense is shifting a little bit, and I think Logan realized that and he wanted to go elsewhere, which is understandable. So, it stinks losing someone like him because he was definitely a great running back, but we wish guys like him nothing but the best. And at the end of the day, it's about them more than anything else. I mean, you're choosing schools to better yourself and better your future and better your playing career, as three big things. So nothing but the best for him. And it's just next man up, man. And we got a really good running back coming in the door.
Yeah, Jeremiah Love.
So we, sky's the limit right now, and I'm excited. Well, I'm excited to see Logan. I'm excited to see what Logan does and where he goes, and how that helps him out. But yeah, it hurts a little bit for sure.
Well, and my thing with Diggs entering the transfer portal is the shocking thing is he was a key contributor last season. I mean, he had just as many yards, maybe not as many touchdowns as Audric Estime, but he was a key contributor last year. I mean, him and Audric Estime both combined for a total of 1,000 yards, and that's with receiving included in there as well. So at first I was shocked, but then, like I was saying at the start of the video, when you actually look at things, it sounds like Logan wants to be a featured back. And with the direction of where this Notre Dame football team is headed under Marcus Freeman, it doesn't sound like he was going to be able to do that. So it's now more understandable why he did enter the portal for that reason, wanting to be a featured back. It's not going to happen here. And plus, it sounds like Notre Dame is going to really want to throw the ball more now that Sam Hartman is here. And, I guess that can take us right into the next topic, but unless there's something you want to comment on the featured back part of this.
No, I know. And I mean, you can tell that the offense, just by a little bit of the spring game, the offense is shifting a little bit, and it's going from where, like we talked in the last video that we posted, the offense is shifting from, we rely heavily on the run, and now it's looking like we're going to rely heavily on the pass, which that's how it is right now in college football. Ohio State historically was a running team. We saw they always had really good runners and running backs. Obviously, they're the only school to have a running back and player win the Heisman twice, in Archie Griffin. And then there was Eddie George, and then there was Ezekiel Elliott. And then, the list goes on and on and on. And they shifted over to the passing game, and now when you talk about prolific passing teams who we're going to see them on our schedule, it's them, Alabama, Clemson, teams that if they can't run on you, they're going to pass. And that's how it is right now. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see the offense evolve and shift. And I think that this is going to be a great step in the right direction for this program.
And I'm glad you brought up Alabama, because obviously the other big news, Tyler Buchner entered the transfer portal, as we all know, but now it is official. He is on his way to Tuscaloosa to play for Nick Saban and offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, which that doesn't surprise me too much either.
With Tommy Rees.
There was a very good chance that he was going to follow Tommy Rees to Alabama. And again, all these guys that transferred, Diggs, Buchner, Styles. There was an offensive lineman who transferred, Prince Collie. We wish them nothing but the best. We're not trashing these guys, because at the end of the day, these guys are not committed to us, the fans. They're committed to themselves and their futures. And they're going to do what they think is best for their future. Even if it doesn't work out for them, that's what they thought was best. But yeah, what do you think, Ben? Do you think Tyler Buchner can flourish under Nick Saban with Tommy Rees there as offensive coordinator now?
I mean, Nick Saban as a coach surrounds himself with people that develop players. It's apparent. It's evident. I mean, you see the draft every year, and Alabama's always up there with guys taken. And recently, the quarterback position at Alabama is always highly, highly talked about. And just full of guys that have been recently getting drafted. Really, the last guy that did anything national title wise that didn't have the career, was AJ McCarron, which we know all about because he played for our beloved Battlehawks. But I mean, you look at Tua, you look at Jones, you look at Young, and even Hurts, who's with the Eagles now. They all came under Saban, so now Buchner's going over there. Maybe Saban can turn Buchner around, if you will, because Buchner has had his struggles at times. So I don't know. Saban says that the quarterback position is basically an open battle, and it creates an even bigger battle bringing Buchner in. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens with that. And like you said, Tommy Rees leaving made sense because Rees recruited Buchner. I mean, let's be honest. When we still had Brian Kelly here, Kelly and Rees were the reason that Buchner chose Notre Dame. And I would like to believe that Rees is probably a bigger reason that Buchner chose Notre Dame than Brian Kelly.
Well, and also another thing too, aside from that, even this will actually give us a real good chance to see both Tommy Rees as a play caller and Tyler Buchner as an athlete.
Yeah,
because obviously we saw with Tommy Rees, he could be very inconsistent at times. Didn't always make the right play calls, but when he was on, he was on.
Yeah. And
myself, I was one of those people that said that I didn't call for his firing, but I thought he should have been on the hot seat, rightfully so. And I'm not going to back down from that, because when someone's not performing and when they're inconsistent after so many chances, there comes a point where enough is enough. You've got to start proving yourself.
Yeah.
So this is going to get, and then Tyler Buchner with his struggles in games and even in the spring game, and granted the spring game is a glorified practice. We know that. He still wasn't looking comfortable in there. He really wasn't. He was still showing signs that he just was not progressing, that he was not comfortable. So him and Tommy Rees being at Alabama will tell us a lot about both of them. Are they better than what we think, or are they the same? So it'll give us a good chance to see that.
Yeah, and I mean, this is nothing against Notre Dame.
No, absolutely not.
But this is Buchner is going to have the best players around him that he's ever had, because especially in the wide receiver game, because this season was really the first time playing wise that Buchner would have had a decent receiving core to work with. Because last season, our receiving core was just decimated. That was like one of our biggest concerns last year, was who's going to step up, who's going to be the guy. We have a freshman in Merriweather. how much playing time is he going to get? How is he going to be able to handle this? All that kind of stuff. So now Buchner goes into a situation that he would have had at Notre Dame, but now he has at Alabama, where he has a really good receiving core around him.
And I just want to say for the record, if Dom Merriweather, Tobias's father's watching, I am so sorry that I called your son Brandon last video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry. You get going, and for some reason the NFL player Brandon Merriweather was stuck in my mind. So I apologize, Mr. Merriweather, because he follows us on Twitter.
Yeah.
So
I
apologize.
So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens with Buchner at Alabama, and it'll be interesting to see if he's named the starting quarterback, because, he's not a Saban guy. He's not. Saban didn't recruit Buchner. Saban's going off of what he sees from Reese and what he's seen on tape of Buchner, which is a small sample size because due to Buchner's injury and the hand that he's been dealt, he hasn't played much. So
exactly.
It'll be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting, and I'm very curious to see what happens in Tuscaloosa.
Oh, same here. It's going to be interesting to see. Like I said, are those guys? Were we not giving them enough credit? Was it just their environment? Was it not a good fit? All those questions will be answered come the fall.
And talking about interesting, moving on to the next topic.
Yes.
The NFL draft is officially done and over with. 3 Notre Dame guys were drafted, and then a whole bunch were signed.
4. We had 4 drafted.
4? You sure?
Yeah, because obviously Michael Mayer, which surprisingly slipped in the second round. I couldn't believe that. He got picked up by the Las Vegas Raiders at number 35 overall, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Then Isaiah Foskey was also a second rounder. He went to
the Saints.
He went to the Saints, and then I think Brandon Joseph got drafted by somebody, and then Jarrett Patterson, the offensive lineman, he got drafted by somebody.
Brandon Joseph signed as a free agent.
Oh, he did? Okay, I thought he got drafted. That's my bad.
But Brandon Joseph signed with the Detroit Lions. Actually, 2 Notre Dame guys signed with the Detroit Lions. But we'll go with the big news. Yeah, the big 3. Mayer, Foskey, and Patterson all getting drafted. The first round, because people were really freaking out about Mayer, wondering why he wasn't taken in the first round. You have to remember, one team took a tight end in the first round, and it was at the very end, which was the Buffalo Bills. So, it's not like a whole bunch of tight ends went off the board and Mayer was still sitting there like, what the heck? A lot of teams went quarterback and a lot of teams went defensive players. So, in that first round, I'm not worried about Mayer. The Raiders are a shocker to me. I didn't think the Raiders were going to go with a tight end like that, and they did. And they're getting a steal in Mayer. These teams that passed up Mayer with tight ends in Detroit and Buffalo, you're going to regret it. You're going to totally regret it, because Mayer is an absolute monster.
I'll say this, though. I really thought he was going to go to the Cowboys. I thought Jerry Jones was going to take him.
A lot of people were projecting him to go to the Cowboys.
And a buddy of mine at work, the one who's a Notre Dame fan, but he's also a Cowboys fan as well. This is his work comments, not mine. He said, "Man, why didn't the Cowboys take Michael Mayer? No, instead they take a defensive tackle who's going to be gone in 2 years."
Yeah.
We'll see about that. But
yeah, well, Dallas has some underlying issues, and I think that until they address those, I don't think they're going super far. But we'll leave that for a different day.
Yes.
But moving on, Isaiah Foskey to the Saints. Huge move by the Saints. Their first 2 picks are defensive players that actually played against each other. How about that? Brian Breesy getting picked up in the first round and then of Clemson, and then Isaiah Foskey getting drafted in the second round by the Saints. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it sounds like the Saints did that because their defensive line is starting to get up there in age. So they want to keep it, replenished. So so them getting drafting Isaiah Foskey makes a lot of sense.
Yep. And then obviously the last guy drafted, Jarrett Patterson to the Houston Texans, had to find some protection for CJ Stroud.
Talk about a team that made a splash.
So, that's very, very interesting. And it'll be very interesting to see what happens in Houston, because they seem like they might be trending up pretty quickly. So,
Well, they draft Will Anderson Jr. or no, they draft C.J. Stroud. Then they trade up to number 3 back-to-back to get him and Will Anderson Jr. Holy crap. I don't think the word splash does it justice.
Yep. But then joining Isaiah Foskey and the Saints is Blake Grupe, signed as a free agent to the Saints today. That's pretty awesome. And then obviously we have 2 dudes, Brandon Joseph and Chris Smith, both signing with the Detroit Lions. Chris Smith is actually from Detroit, so that's a pretty cool little story right there. And then
Josh Lugg. I can't remember if it was invited in for a tryout or if he was an undrafted free agent, one of the two, but he's going with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, Josh Lugg received an invite. So he will be at camp at least. And then from there, he'll have to try out and make the team. But yeah, so a lot of guys going to the North, the NFC North. Justin Adamola joining up with the Packers. Don't hold your boots, Juan. Hold your boots. And then there's one other guy I'm missing. Oh, yes. No, I'm sorry. Jason Adamola went with the Jaguars. No, I'm sorry. Justin went with the Packers, and Jason went with the Jaguars. Okay.
It's all right. Both the twins went. That's all you need to know.
Both the twins were signed. So now their family is going to be in the Kelsey family situation, so they both could play in the Super Bowl against each other.
Yeah, right.
Which would be crazy because it's the Jaguars and the Packers, but hey, it could happen.
Yeah.
So
with that, Ben, not really much else to talk about. I mean, we could find other little things to talk about, but we're gonna have to wrap this up pretty quick, unfortunately, this week. But yeah, anything else you want to mention real quick?
No, I mean, just that, we're another day closer to the college football season. It's starting to get really interesting as things start getting figured out, with player personnels across the country and stuff. And, another interesting storyline that we'll have to follow is Pine at Arizona State. So,
yeah,
that's going to be another interesting storyline. So, yeah. We'll see, man. It's going to be interesting.
One last thing before we wrap this up, everyone. Make sure you come and follow our page on Twitter. We got a little action going on there, some controversy and some fun and all that good stuff. So the traffic's been coming our way there, so you might want to come in and follow us and check it out.
Yeah, we're this close to 400 followers. We're 20 followers away from 400. So if we could hit 400, that would be absolutely awesome.
Yes, it would be.
But hey, who's counting, right?
Exactly. All right. Well, with that said, everyone, I am ND Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
And as we always say, good night, God bless, and go Irish.
Go Irish.